This is Jake from World of Pool and Billiards, and today I have another viewer requested breakdown and recreation featuring Carlo Biado. I wasn't able to find much information on what tournament this was or where it took place, but according to the title and description, it is a 10 balls final match from the 2013 at Hard Times. The video was posted by POV Pool, and if you guys want to check them out, I'll leave a link to their channel, website, and the video in the description below. Carlo Biado is playing 10 ball and is up 5-0 against Alex Pagulayan. Carlo starts off with a pretty typical break from the center of the table, popping the cue ball up into the air and then stopping it in the center of the table. But the one ball ends up bumping it and knocks it down towards the bottom rail. With no high probability offensive options on the table, Carlo plays a quick and simple save, sending the cue ball behind the 6 and 7 and the 1 towards the middle of the table. Ideally, the cue ball would have been behind the 6 ball, which would force Alex to kick at the 1, which is in the middle of the table, making the kick shot much harder to judge, but it comes up slightly short, offering a pretty easy jump shot to Pagulayan. Easy to hit, that is, but not easy to make. Once again, with no offensive option, Biado plays a simple safe, but is much more successful this time around, leaving Alex with no simple jump shot to hit the 1. But the kick shot isn't very hard to judge this time, and Alex gets out of it with a really nice kick on the 1 ball that sends the cue ball all the way down the table and behind the 9 and 10. These kinds of kick shots are what separates amateurs from professional level players in safety battles. Amateurs kick to hit, while professionals kick with a goal. Alex knows that the speed that he hit that shot at, and that by hitting on that side of the 1 ball, that the cue ball and the 1 are going to have a lot of green between them, and that there is a good chance that the cue ball is going to get safe. Had he hit a fraction harder, the cue ball would have rolled up and frozen on the 7, which would have made this next kick shot much more difficult. Biado then comes to the table and once again executes another fantastic kick shot, sending the 1 ball towards the bottom rail and the cue ball behind the 10. Pagulayan then tries to kick safe again by sending the 1 ball behind the 6 and 7, but it instead hits the 6 and leaves Biado with a chance to get out. The 1 ball is slightly tricky though, because it looks like the 7 is blocking from cutting the 1 to the left side of the pocket, which is the ideal way to hit it to get shape on the 3 ball. Carlo does his best to work with what angle he has and is left with a tough cut on the 3. Biado should still make it, but he wobbles it in the corner, leaving Pagulayan an easy off-the-rail pocket on the 3. But Pagulayan gets a bit unfortunate and ends up going behind the 9 ball, and he's forced to shoot another jump shot. I really respect what Alex does here, recognizing that even if he pockets the 4, that there's no shape to be had on the 5, he purposely misses and plays another safe, to which Biado responds with another safe. Alex definitely won't be jumping this one and kicks 2 rails at the 4, getting a hit on it and hopefully containing Carlo for 1 more shot, but I get the feeling that he isn't going to like what he sees next time he comes to the table. Never mind, Carlo's going to pocket the 4 ball. Man, these pockets are tight. Okay, he misses, but Alex still can't see the 4. Then Alex plays what I think is the game-winning shot. He calls the 4 and barely misses it, but he still leaves a really tough safety. Even if Carlo makes the ball off the 1 rail kick, which he does, it's more than likely that the cue ball is going to be stopped by the 6, 7, or 8 and prevent him from getting shape on the 5, which will force him to kick at the 5 ball again, which he does. So he kicks at it, and once again, Alex isn't left with a shot. Well, an offensive option. And it should be a really simple safe, sending the cue ball to the bottom rail behind the 6, 9, and 10 and the 5 ball towards the opposite rail. Unless this happens. Really, side pocket? Carlo comes back to the table and makes a really strong shot, potting the 5 ball in the corner pocket, but leaves himself a bit awkward on the 6. The 7 ball has only 1 pocket unless he breaks it out, and he has no natural path to the position that he needs to get there. If this was me, I would play this shot with some bottom right and bring the cue ball down below the 7 to play a stop shot safety, leaving the cue ball behind the 8. Instead, Biado sees an offensive option that I think most players would have overlooked. He cuts the 6 into the corner, kills the angle that the cue ball had off the rail with left-hand English to avoid hitting the 9 or 10 ball, but enough left is still left on the cue ball that when it hits the opposite long rail, it changes direction by about 40 to 45 degrees to get shape on the short side of the 7. And now it's my turn to go try it. For my first attempt, I hit with a bit of top to try and help kill the angle off of the 6, and a lot of left so that there will be enough left over to change the trajectory of the cue ball after it hits the 2nd rail. There's actually enough left over to change the angle of the cue ball, but it hits further away from the 2nd diamond than when Carlo Biado shot it, and it was going too fast. My second attempt is even worse, and I hit the rail all the way up by the side pocket. I figured that I must be hitting that shot too fast and not giving that bit of top that I am putting on the cue ball enough time to straighten out the angle a bit before it hits the first rail. I decided to try and shoot a bit softer to hopefully let that top take a bit before the cue ball reaches the first rail. The lines that the cue ball are traveling are a lot closer to what I see Carlo shoot, but I come up about 3 feet short of ideal position. I try to go back to hitting the cue ball at a bit of a faster pace, but I basically repeat what happened on attempt 2. From here on, I pretty much just try to find a perfect balance of speed to reach my position. Every time I hit the cue ball soft and it stays on the right line, I end up coming 2 or 3 feet short of my position. And every time that I hit harder with enough pace to get position, I hit too far up the rail, ended up running into the 8 or 7, or I just go below it. After a while, it becomes apparent that there is something about this shot that I'm missing, especially true for attempt 19. I finally catch on to the part of the shot that I'm missing on attempt 24. Rather than focus on speed to kill the angle off of the 6 ball, I try to cheat the pocket and cut the 6 as thin as possible. This does 2 things that are beneficial to this shot. First, the angle that the cue ball leaves the 6 at will be much straighter than if I were to cut it to the center of the pocket like I had been doing. Secondly, less energy will be transferred to the 6 ball, meaning that I will have more speed on the cue ball and I shouldn't be coming up short anymore, even whenever the cue ball is traveling down the right path. I still end up coming up a bit short, but all I have to do is hit a bit harder next time, and I should get decent shape. On attempt 25, I get pretty ideal position, but I don't get as much of a change in angle as Biado had on his shot, so I decide to give it another shot, but I still end up coming up a bit short of ideal shape on the 7. On attempt 26, I actually overshoot my position on the 7, and I'm pretty happy with the results as it really resembles the same shot that Carlo made. On attempt 28, I don't quite get enough left on the cue ball. I could get out from where I'm left, but the shape still isn't ideal, and on attempt 29, the angles are perfect, but I come up just a few inches short of my ideal position. I end up hitting way too slow on attempt 30, but I'm getting the angles right almost every shot, and it's just a matter of hitting the cue ball at the perfect speed. Finally, on attempt 31, everything comes together. I cut the 6 to the left side of the corner pocket. The cue ball comes off the rail and hits just above the second diamond, the same way that it did when Carlo shot it, and then changes direction and comes down and gets ideal shape on the 7. I have a high percentage shot on the 7 ball with an angle that offers shape to the 8. I make the 7 and try to come off 2 rails to get shape on the 8 ball, but I don't quite get enough left on the cue ball. Ended up with a bit of an awkward angle on the 8. It is an ideal shape to say the least, but I pull myself out of it with a lot of bottom right, bringing the cue ball back and getting straight in position on the 9 ball in the side pocket. From here, I just roll the cue ball forward a couple of inches to get straight in on the 10, and that's it. I'm out. What's next? You decide.